Step into the world of Inspired by Cyndia, a podcast dedicated to mental health and life coaching. Cyndia is here to ignite your inner spark and accompany you on the path to embracing your authentic self. Together, you'll set out on a journey to uncover the stories of remarkable individuals who have left a lasting mark on her. So, brace yourself for a sparkle of inspiration that will light up your life.
Welcome to Inspired by Cyndia, where I'm your host, Cyndia, and I'm so happy to be here with the amazing Tabatha. And Tabatha, are you here?
I am here, Cyndia. It's a great honor to be on your show.
That is awesome. Thank you. It's an honor to have you. Tabatha, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yes, absolutely. My name is Tabatha Thorell. I am a wife, mom to 5 daughters. Yes, 5 girls. I am an entrepreneur, speaker, author, coach, real estate investor, and now podcaster. So my life is very full, but I love it. I love it. I love it.
That is amazing. And the big question is, how do you do it? Oh,
That is the question, right? Well, let me take you back a little bit, just to share who I am and to give your audience just a little context because that's a lot, right? Like whenever people are introducing me or they ask me, Tab, what are you doing or who are you? When I say it, sometimes it's almost I feel like pompous, like, oh, look at us. But these are the things that I do. And most of them I'm currently still actively doing. Some of it has had its ebbs and flows in my business. But to take you back, I married my high school sweetheart. We met in high school. We got married shortly after college. And me and my husband both knew that we wanted to do more entrepreneurship. We had invested in real estate when we were in college. So we knew like this was a source of income that was going to breed rewards, well into our 40s, 50s, 60s. And we kind of knew that. We just had that mindset from the beginning. But we also knew we wanted a family. And I knew I wanted to be a hands-on mom, but I didn't necessarily want to be a stay-at-home mom. There was nothing wrong with that. I have some of the most amazing friends that they are like the epitome of a stay-at-home mom. And I wish that sometimes I wish I could be like that. But I wanted to be a hands-on mom and I wanted to have high influence. So in my journey, I really had this struggle, and maybe some of your audience has this struggle where you want this financial freedom, you want to have this impact, you want to help people, you want to, maybe even have a career where you really feel fulfilled, but you want to be that hands-on parent. And maybe
Mhm.
if it's not even a parent, maybe you just want to be more involved in the lives of the people around you. You just want more time. And I just really struggled in the beginning because my husband was working 70 hours a week, not seeing our daughters, and it killed me. I mean, I
Mm.
remember a time when my oldest daughter was 2 and my youngest daughter was 9 months, and we laid on our trampoline. We live in Nebraska, so our winters can be really, really rough and really cold, and I
Yes.
remember it was a day in March, and it was spring, and the sun was out. We finally got to go out on the trampoline, and my girls love to be out there, and I was laying on this trampoline, and my 2-year-old's jumping, and my 9-year-old's crawling all over me, and I really should have been filled with joy. And I remember laying on that trampoline and tears just coming streaming down my face. And the problem was I wasn't necessarily sad. I was mad. I was mad that we were in the situation where there was going to be another night where my husband was going to get home so late that the girls were going to be in bed and they were going to want their dad and I couldn't give that to them. And so I remember looking at the sky and I don't know, the belief system of your listeners, but for me I just looked up and I said, God, please just give me an opportunity. Just give me an opportunity. Like we're doing these things and my husband was an entrepreneur in his own right, but just give me something that can give us some financial freedom. I promise I will do you due diligence. I will work hard. I will do it, but just please let me have this opportunity. I wasn't even asking for a handout. I just want an opportunity. And so some of your listeners might be here where you're at that crossroads where you're wanting an opportunity or you're needing an opportunity and just believe it. Believe that it's going to come. And that's that's what I did. I just had so much belief that an opportunity will come, and it did. And here's the thing,
Nice.
I took action on it. It was something I was very unfamiliar with. It was direct selling. I had never been in a network marketing company. I actually really despise salespeople, to be honest. But it was just
Mhm.
my own limiting beliefs behind that, because every time that I came into a situation where there was a salesperson, I couldn't afford it. And so I
Mm.
had limiting beliefs about it. And I thought, okay, I'm going to jump into this network marketing company. How can it be different? And the thing was, is the company was amazing. It was all about leadership, personal development, helping people get healthy, helping people get fit, which I was already doing. And I
Mhm.
thought, okay, this is, what I want to do. And what it did is that opportunity opened my eyes to more personal development, more leadership. So as my my knowledge grew and my confidence grew, so did my opportunities, because then I was meeting people and I was getting more opportunities. And then
Yeah.
again, God like did his little knock knock and said, "Okay, Tab, I want you to go out on your own." And I'm like, "What?" Have somebody to like, this crutch. I mean, I love network marketing, but it's a little bit of a crutch. You can kind of lean on it. And for me to go out on my own, I had no business background. I had no like marketing, sales, really sales background, because network marketing is just different. And I knew nothing about the online world, but I did it. Again, I
Mm.
took the step. I took the step and the leap of faith. And it was scary. And I had to invest money. I mean, we're talking thousands of dollars. And that was scary for me. I'd never done that before. But I was able to do it because I knew the belief in myself. I knew that I'd always wanted something more. I'd always had this desire for financial freedom, and not for the stuff. It wasn't for accumulating stuff. I mean, of course, you have dream houses and dream things, right? That you have, and
Mhm.
those are okay too. But I wanted more time with my husband. At that time, we had 3 babies. I knew that, like, we wanted more time, and I knew that about myself. So I said, "Okay, we're gonna take this leap. We're gonna do this, and I'm gonna just trust it." And I went
Nice.
and I took it. Now, were there deceitfulness in some of it? Yes, some of the coaches that I've hired, I mean, we're talking spending 5 figures on. Have they been a little deceitful? Yes. But have I learned and grown from them? Absolutely. So if
Yeah.
you are on the other side of this and you're questioning somebody's motives, or, someone's trying to sell you something, I encourage you to let those walls down, because the only time that it's like a scam, unless someone literally just takes your money and run, and like, you have to have discernment with that. But like, if this is a program or something that you're wanting to invest in where other people have had success at all, or there's some sort of guarantee, and you're still a little jaded, because trust me, I've been jaded before, and it
Mhm.
prolonged my success. That was the one regret, is like letting that fear hold me back. And it was, expectations being let down. But if you know, like, I will gain some sort of wisdom from this, no matter what. And it might be one little nugget, it might be one thing, and it might cost me $10,000. But in the future, it can gain me $100,000, or it can gain me a relationship that is, you can't even put a price on, or it can gain me health and vitality and a passion for life that I can't even put a price tag on. And so I had to lower the expectations on what I was needing in the business world, and say, I know myself. I can gain some positivity from anything. And that allowed me freedom. And I think that's
Mm.
the freedom of fear that a lot of people, we're so guarded on being hurt, or we're going to let other people down, or our limiting beliefs of scarcity of how we grew up. We let that define us. And
Yes.
I definitely had a scarcity mindset that I had to really dig deep. I had to dig that deep and pull it out and say, I deserve abundance. There is abundance in the world. Money is not scarce. It hasn't gone
Absolutely.
anywhere. Even now, like with the recession, everyone thinks the money is gone. The only reason why people think the money is gone is because when we go into any sort of crisis, like what we did with COVID, we retreat back, we guard, we protect. And when we
Mhm.
do that, we are scarce with our resources. So then guess what? The economy is scarce, because if you don't buy, let me just give you an example here. If you usually go to the store and like when the toilet paper went went gone, right? And you go to the store and then it's gone, what do you do the next time? You go and you like buy everything up, but then you're like, "Oh no, I spent my month's allowance of food on toilet paper. Oh no, I got to, scrimp over here, so then we're not going to eat out anymore." or when we couldn't eat
Ab-
out, right? And so then guess what happens? Those businesses that thrive on you eating out all of a sudden do not have that revenue. So then guess what? They don't have the money to go out and go on that vacation. And that vacation place was used to you coming. And so they don't have the revenue, right? So it's that trickle effect of like scarcity and holding that. So the thing that I want people to realize is like when we hold that fear and scarcity, it is a domino effect on everybody. And the only reason
Right.
why we're really in a recession is because we have made the action of that. If you go out in abundance, and I'm not just talking about going blowing money, but going out with your own resources and giving back and not living in this scarce little bubble and going
Mhm.
out and making money and and going out and spending money in the right way, you're producing that for other people and making that positive impact. Does that make sense? Like you have to have that like mindset of abundance. Like you have this gift to give to people. And that was the thing over my whole 16-year journey that has really kept me moving, because when income's not coming in, it's
Mhm.
very easy and a natural instinct to be like, I'm not going to spend. And
Yeah.
I'm a little controversial on this because you will never save yourself to financial freedom. And I know there's a lot of gurus out there that say that, but you won't. You need to have a mindset of how can I make the money? Where is
Yeah.
the money? I need to find the money. And just because when we don't have money, it's like oxygen. We feel like we're suffocating. Or feel like we don't have choices. And I don't know if your listeners are only in America, but especially in America, we have so many opportunities that there's no
Absolutely.
reason why we should be in this scarcity mindset where we feel like we're suffocating. And I have to tell myself, I mean, I still tell myself that. And
Mhm.
I've been doing this for a lot of years, but when you don't have revenue from a certain business coming in for 3 years, which we did, I had to really reevaluate. But I could not live in scarcity even in those 3 years. I still invested in coaching. I still invested in myself. I still gave value. I was still speaking Facebook Lives. I was still giving, like if people wanted advice and mentorship, I was still giving it.
Yeah,
Because
putting yourself out there.
yeah, I had it to give. And then guess
Yeah.
what that did? It broke limiting beliefs that I couldn't.
Nice.
So I hope that kind of gives you a little rundown of me and like where I'm at, but that truly that mindset of abundance has been so dominant in my thinking, and I feel like that is what sets people free is really when you switch that mindset from scarcity and limitation to abundance. In
Yeah.
our household we say this a lot. Do it anyway. My
Absolutely.
my daughters will say, "Mom, I don't have the time." I'm like, "Do it anyway." "Mom, I don't
Right.
have it." "Do it anyway." What if you just did it? What if you just did it scared? What if you just gave it even if you didn't have it? What if you paid for somebody's meal even when you only have, $20 in the bank account? Tony Robbins he talks about an amazing story when he was first starting out. And I think he had like some people owed him money and they didn't pay him. And he had like, I don't know, $40 to his name. And he went out to a restaurant and he felt really crappy about himself. And he saw this little boy, and this little boy took his mom out to dinner, and the little boy, he went up to him and he's like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Oh, I'm taking my lady out." And it's his mom, and it's just so cute. And Tony paid for their meal, and he didn't
Mhm.
have it. I mean, he was like, I think he had like $40 to his name or something like that. And guess
Yeah.
what? The next day, the check came in the mail for the money that he was owed. So when you live in that kind of thinking of abundance and like what you give is what you will receive, I feel like that sets a lot of people free. Even if you're struggling with divorce, even if you're struggling with addiction, even if you're struggling in things that, aren't financial. When you go
Mhm.
out and you think like I have so much to give, my gifts, my knowledge, my expertise, my kindness, a smile,
Absolutely.
a word of encouragement, that gets
Mhm.
you out of yourself and it gets you into that mindset of, there is hope. Life is beautiful.
Absolutely. Yes, I love that you said that because these days we are afraid to it's all in the mind and we're afraid to take the next step because we're thinking I'm going to lose something. Tabitha, can I ask you,
Yeah.
how did you keep yourself from that point till now of just that confident belief of this is what I'm believing in and this is my mindset?
So when I first, like I said, my first real kind of big purchase was when I did invest in my network marketing company. And then I was blessed in that company to a lot of the leadership and personal development was kind of given to us if you earned a certain level. So I just made sure I earned that certain level because I was like, I loved that, right? Like I just wanted that. And I'd consume a lot of like YouTube content and I got introduced to Tony Robbins and then I and went to his seminar and I was like, oh, and so I just always kind of took those steps of like going to conferences or surrounding myself. And before I could afford it, I literally did consume anything that was free. Just always in my mind, rewiring my mind. I didn't know at the time that's what I was doing, but it's what I was doing. I was like
Yeah.
listening to those positive things. And then they talked about like affirmations, especially when I got into like the Tony Robbins world where he talked about changing your physiology and not just saying the words, but like really belief. And I knew a few things about me. This is something too that I think people need to understand. When you discover who you are, meaning when you learn like your personality type, I know my love language, I know how I'm wired, the things that trigger me, and I don't try to necessarily change those. See, so
Mhm.
many people think at what they do wrong and they try to change them. And that's like wasted energy because those are your weaknesses. And although you can't use it as an excuse and like just be kind of like a douchebag all the time, if you're naturally hot
Mhm.
headed, you might have to like filter that and soften it a little bit. But, AKA hot headed people are usually passionate people. So that means they have a lot of energy and passion. So they're change makers. They're like what I say, valiants for the kingdom. Like they're great people. And so they
Yeah.
have to use their strengths and find it for a good. Um, Unfortunately for me, when I was younger, I've always been a talker and I've always had high energy. And as a child, that's not necessarily great for people. So they told me a lot of you're too loud, you're too strong, you need to shut up. Or they would record me. And I remember like my older sister's friends, they like spied on me. And I remember I was pretending to be a teacher and, I was using my hands and like talking and stuff. And they made fun of me for that. And
Mm.
so that was a wound as a child. Like now we can say and think, oh, it's no big deal. But as a child, that was, like, so embarrassing for me, an
Yeah.
older high school adult, like, catching you, talking to yourself, being a teacher, I was make believe play, as an adult, I see it as totally natural, but as a kid, you think, "Oh my gosh, I'm so wrong and weird, and now, like, everybody knows," and so I silenced myself, and
Mhm.
for a long time that's how I viewed myself. And so when I was doing, I was listening to these videos and I would say these things, like, especially with money, I had to break a lot of chains of scarcity off, just because of how I grew up, lower middle class, poor food stamps type of situation. And I just have to say these things, but I'd have to physically feel it. Right. Like I couldn't just be like, oh, there's an abundance of money. Like I have to like get like what Tony says, like, and say, I'd be like, money is surround me. And I'd have to,
Yeah.
say it over and over and in the shower and do those things. And I still have to do those things because the
Yeah.
neurological grooves are so strong. And then hiring coaches and surrounding myself with other people, like minded people that did see the value and knowing like, yes, 7 figures is possible, 8 figures is possible, 10 figures is possible. Because I live in a very rural community. And so that's not the normal thinking here. And so I
Mhm.
really had to be diligent and aware of what I was letting in my mind and what I was speaking. Because you can't say that it's abundant and then go home and say that's expensive because it's
Yeah.
all relative. And so there's words that, like, even in our household, I really don't like to use that because that limits it. Expensive compared to what? Right. So, like,
Right.
words I even use with my daughters, and like, they've never heard me use the phrase I'm fat. Because growing
Mm.
up, that's all I heard my grandma and my mom say. And my mom was not fat, by the way. She was like 120 pounds, but that's all I heard. And so then that grooved into me. And I knew those words I wasn't going to use for my daughters. So they don't hear me say those things. And when they're struggling with something, I'm like, who are you comparing yourself to? Because we
Yeah.
can all nitpick. And I had to really is the words and like what I watched, what I listened to, even the movies, the shows, we gravitate more towards comedies, sitcoms, like fun, lighthearted. If it is a drama, it has to have some sort of humor because otherwise you get pulled into it. We're
Yeah.
driven for stories, whether real or fake, and our mind doesn't know any different. So I just really had to be aware of that. I had to be aware of myself, of how I was wired. So I'd say that's number one for the audience. Be aware of yourself. Like, what are your likes, dislikes, personality, strength finders, love language? All of those things are who you are. Know them. And then what triggers you? What enlightens you? I love coaching, speaking, training to people. It makes me alive. It lights me up. I love it. I feed off that energy in those people. And that's how God wired me. So I know that about myself. And so, and I always have a coach because otherwise I can talk myself in or out of anything. I can make everything
Right.
good or bad idea. And so I need that third party credibility. I think most of us can do that. I've even tried to talk myself out of coaches and they're like, no, you can't fight. Like, because I don't want them to disagree because,
Yeah.
I want to be right. So, that's just, I've had to open my heart up a lot about that and just be like, okay, this is all positive. Everything that happens for me, not to me. So let's do that.
That's awesome. So it's more than just having a husband. You need a little more. So you have your
Absolutely.
husband
Yes.
and you
He's
have to
too
have a
much of a
coach.
Yes, I mean, he's too much of a rose-colored glasses. He's like, "Why do you need all this coaching? You're perfect, you're fine." I'm like, "Honey, I love you, but, like, seriously, like, I
Right.
need someone to kick me in the pants," and that's the personality type that I need, and most of us need that. We need that, mirror to shift a little bit, somebody else's perspective, and also tools and things that I didn't even know was possible. We need that, and we need it more than
Yeah.
free. As much as I love free, and that's where I started, you have to invest in it because there's skin in the game. And when there's skin in the game,
Yes.
you're going to be more accountable, which means you're going to take action. When you take action, something happens. Good,
Yeah.
bad, or ugly, something happens. And you learn from it, good, bad, or ugly. And then again, you can, if it was bad, you just have to look at it like, okay, that's in my tool belt. I got to move on. I can't let that be a setback. That was a setup. How can I use that for my advantage? And then go for it. And then just keep
Yeah.
moving. I mean, there have been moments where I've been in the fetal position on my bathroom floor, literally sobbing, like, why am I doing this? What is happening? And there's just this voice, and there's the same voices in you. And it's saying, you were meant for this. Get up, wipe your tears,
Yeah.
and move forward. Just one step. It doesn't have to be a leap. It doesn't even have to be like a jump. Just give me like one little baby step. And then you just
Yeah.
do that. And when you move and you're active physically and mentally towards something positive, positive things will happen.
Absolutely. Yeah, I love the energy. I love what you're saying because we all need that. We need that push, and we do have to get away from free. I'm a big believer in having a coach, and even today you've just been motivating me. I'm like, yes. So
Yes,
it's been amazing speaking to
yes.
you. What inspires you?
You know, honestly, what inspires me is leaving a legacy for my daughters, being that role model. So, like, every
Mm.
day I try to be the best version of myself, not for me first, because I deserve that, right? Like, I deserve
Mm.
to be the best version of myself. But for my daughters and my husband, like, they're the ones who are around me all the time. So, like, to
Right.
be that best version. But what inspires me is just the infinite possibilities and the opportunities that we have. And that really the only limitation that we have is us,
Yeah.
is between the ears. And when you can truly grasp that, like truly, because I just said that, and for some people, they're like in ear one, out the other. But
Yeah.
truly understand that the only limitations that you have is between the ears. Because you're either perceiving a situation a certain way where you can't accelerate or you can't get forward or you can't move forward, or you're looking at a situation and you're trying to get something out of it that never will be. And what I
Yeah.
mean by that is a lot of times we try to get accolades from business or career or from other people, but in reality, what we need is accolades from inside.
Right.
So we need to look at because I'm an achiever and I'm a competitive person and I'm an activator. And so I like to do things, but I have to ask myself, what am I really trying to accomplish here? Is there a void inside that I'm not looking at? Is there something that I've just pushed under the rug? Is there a feeling or an emotion? And
Mm.
especially men, I don't know if you have like a lot of men listeners on here, but a lot of women have husbands or your significant others.
Mhm.
Men don't necessarily see this, and so they really achieve and try to in their career or their business, or they provide because that's like a natural instinct. But realizing, okay, but how can I as a wife, or if you're a man on here, how can I fill that void in ways that isn't so check the mark, right? Like, if I achieve this, then I'll do that. If I have this, then I'll feel this. What if
Yeah,
you felt that anyway and then did it because you loved it? Because I speak and I train and I coach because I love it. I could make money a lot of different ways. I mean, when we first got married, we thought about both of us becoming real estate brokers. And I just said, I don't think that's my calling. Like, I like
mm,
real estate. I like investing. I love renovating homes. We've renovated so many homes. I love making things old look new. But being a real estate agent was not my calling. And so I knew I could make money doing it and I knew I could be very successful at it, but that didn't mean that I was supposed to do it. So
mm.
that's what I mean about when you become very self-aware of what you're called to do, that's what should inspire you. Knowing that like you can make as much money as you possibly can and like do so much good with it or achieve all your dreams, that inspires me because I just know so much good can come from money and too many bad people have money. And so it's like I want to like fight that evil with, with that. And I know that's for some people is hard to grasp because they've had such a negative connotation with money. But let me tell you this right now, if you are a believer, God wants good people to have money. Like he really does, because
Absolutely.
you can do so much good for people who have no idea, or they cannot build a well in Africa, but you can. And so it's our right and responsibility to accumulate that so that we can help and serve in whatever asset that is for you. So those are the things that inspire me.
That is awesome. It was amazing speaking to you today, Tabitha. You got me crump, and I'm so excited. And I'm happy for everyone to hear that, it's our mindset and our limitations that keep us stuck. Without that,
Yes,
we can move mountains. And that's the
absolutely.
truth. And I'm so happy that because on episode 4, I talked about owning in what you want, honing in into what you want, because that's where the magic happen. It first happens in your mind and then the world sees it. So
Yep.
I'm just so happy that you came and confirmed that we are amazing people and the world is ours. We just have to retrain ourselves because no
Yep.
one really taught us this. And it takes coaches and it takes people like you, to remind us that we are here for a reason and we can succeed. So I
Yes.
thank you, Tabitha, for being on my podcast today with
You
all
are
that good
so
energy.
awesome. No, it's been a pleasure. Thank you, Cynthia.
Can you tell us where to find you?
Yes, so you can actually get some freebies from me at my website, and you can put this in the show notes, but it's Tab Thorell, so TabThorell.com, and you can go in there. I know the webs whenever you release this, some of the website we're adding new stuff all the time. So you can grab some freebies from me in the different areas of health, wellness, relationships. But I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram. Instagram's Tab Thorell, and I will be doing TikTok. I haven't done a lot yet, but we're going to branch into that, and also on YouTube. And my podcast is called What Went Wrong, so you can check that out as well.
Okay. And can you tell us a little bit about the podcast?
Yes. So our podcast, we do a series of interviews and also just famous people's stories, like storytelling of people who have went through failure and have bounced back from failure and where they are today. So we deep dive into stories of failure, giving people hope that, hey, you know what? Like, look at this person's story. They were here. It might have been a failure or like a bankruptcy or health or relationship, but look at what they did to come out of it. And we're really deep diving into the actual story of that person. So it's been fun. I've been interviewing and telling stories, and I learn a lot from these people, and it gives me hope just by interviewing them. So definitely check it out. It has a little different spin than the average podcast. And it's not just for entrepreneurs or business people, just someone who's like, I just need a little bit of hope right now. I just want to hear stories. I just want to hear a
Yeah.
story and get a little bit of hope.
Okay. Well, I am definitely going to dive in and hear more, and I hope my listeners follow me. into diving into Tabatha Thorell.
Thank you so much, Cynthia.
Thank you. You take care.
Bye-bye.